Hi again. So I want to do a bit of a comparison this morning with starters. Starters are the start of the process of making sourdough and probably the most important part of the process. So just for fun, out of interest, I'm going to try a couple of different flours and just show you the difference. So I've just made one here, which is a rice starter. So this is using organic dark rye flour from Shipton mill. So this is 50 grams of water, 50 grams of flour and 10 grams of starter. So it's the 1:5:5 ratio that people talk about, kind of the golden ratio for starters. And so I generally just kind of put, when I've made my bread, I've got a little bit left in the jar, just kind of almost the scrapings left in there. And that's enough from the fridge to make yourself a good starter. So anyway, I've got the rye one going here. As a comparison, I'm going to make one now with white bread flour. So this is like non-organic, Canadian one. This is kind of a supermarket brand. So we'll see what happens as a starter, how active this is as a comparison. I made this about a minute ago, so it'll be a good comparison time-wise as well, what goes on there. So what I do now is I'm going to put in the 50 grams, scales out, 50 grams of water in here. In with that scrapings from the starter. Not the scrapings, but what's left from the when I used it yesterday in the jar. So I'll be actually fairly exact here right now because I want to do a direct comparison. So I'll try and get the weights on the money. So 51, that's close enough though. And then 50 grams then of the white flour, strong white bread flour. And we'll see how it goes. This is always the tricky bit, trying to get the exact amount in here. Well, I'm doing it normally, I kind of do it by eye, and I've been doing it for quite a while now, so it's not too bad for me to do by eye, but we'll make it exact here by weighing it all out, so the comparison is valid. Okay, 100, perfect. Now I'll give that a mix round. And again, you want to get all of the starter in there, so as we know. What's interesting already actually by doing this is a much looser mix than with the rye flour. So this flour obviously doesn't absorb the water quite as well. So that's a good thing to note really on there. You get to know about flours and how much they can happily absorb. Like higher protein flours may absorb more water, so you have a higher hydration dough. Anyway, that's looking nicely mixed around on there. Happy with that. And now I'll put a marker on here so we get kind of a gauge of how it's going. And then, so that's roughly about right. So what we want to happen on here again is we want to have it so as we double and a bit more. So kind of pretty much from the elastic band there, I know from experience, round about just below the lip of this jar here is where we want it to be to give ourselves a really nice active starter. So anyway, that's great. So I'll put the lid on here loosely. So we know now, purple band is the white flour one, and this is the rye flour one. So we'll put these in the warm room, come back to them at 4 or 5 hours time, and then we can kind of see how they go. So thanks for watching this little comparison test, and where's your money going to be? Catch you in a bit. Hello, welcome back again. So this is just kind of from back 4.5, 5 hours after we got our starters going. So I made up 2 starters, a rice starter just with like what's left in the jar in the fridge, just a tiny bit, maybe less than 10 grams worth of starter. Made up a rice starter and also a white flour starter as well, which you can see on here, just to kind of compare in 4 or 5 hours, in fact in this case almost 5 hours, what happened to the two. So as you can see on here, the rye one's gone really well. That's like doubled and a bit more, so I'm really pleased with that. Really lovely aeration in there from a tiny amount of starter in the jar. Now the white flour one, there is actual activity in there. You can see there's bubbles in there, something's going on in there, but really, well, in fact, you can see bubbles on the top. I mean, this may be okay. Certainly a lot runnier at our 1:5:5 ratio, but it's not got the lift. It still smells good. It smells right. It smells kind of slightly like fermented, slightly sweet smell to it, not a vinegary smell. maybe okay, but I would probably leave that for quite a bit longer to get a stronger starter. So really, those two, it's very interesting actually that the success, well, kind of what I expected in a way, is the success comes from the right starters. What I found in the past is using a dark organic starter gives you a really strong starter in a quicker time frame than using a white bread flour starter. So there you go. I mean, so the rye one again this is the Shipton meal organic dark rye flour. I use this an awful lot, you know, it's something I always keep in the cupboard, keep a few bags of it because I use it not only in my bread, also pretty much every starter I do, I'm using a rye starter, so fantastic. The other one we had here was a supermarket flour. So this is a Canadian white bread flour. It says it's very strong. I've used it before. It's not bad, you know. It's sometimes I don't very often use non-organic flours, but sometimes you get stuck in a corner and this is all you kind of have there. So this has given me kind of so-so results in the starter. Maybe because there isn't the same kind of enzymes and bacteria or whatever in the kernel of the flour to give you that kind of great activity in the starter. So disappointing really from the white flour. I very rarely use white flour, and this is probably is a good reason why, you know, is if you're going to use white flour, then go for an organic one and really mix it with whole grains to give you that kind of, well, one, flavour, health, and particularly for starters, you know, the great activity you get from a more whole grain flour. So there you go, that's the difference. You know, maybe if I'll leave this now for another kind of 4 or 5 hours and see if it does start to rise a bit more. I mean, it looks from the bubbling inside there is there's definitely activity going on in there, but just not giving the rise. The other reason it may not have had the same rise is because of the white flour couldn't absorb the water so well, so it didn't hydrate so well. So this is a much runnier starter in here. So it may be the 1:5:5 ratio needs slightly adjusting for a white bread flour starter, which is, you know, not what I normally use. And this may be okay, smells is good, but I'll give it a bit longer and see if we do get any more rise on the activity. But it's a really interesting experiment to test these two out. I mean, I could do the same thing, I think, with wholemeal flours as well, organic wholemeal flours. And I think I get a similar kind of response. So I think if you are going out there and buying organic flours and whole grains, you're going to get stronger starters, and it makes sense. You know, this is a highly refined flour, you know, and this is an unrefined flour from organic source, so it's not been sprayed with pesticides and everything else on there, and probably comes from a more biodynamic farm as well than, say, this one here does. So there you go. So I hope the information is useful to you, and you can go away and get yourself some organic dark rye flour for your starters and see the difference really on there. And I often do a loaf of bread in a day. So I get up in the morning and I get my starter going, say at 7 in the morning, and by 1 o'clock I'm at this level here. Then I've got time to make the bread in the afternoon and then put it in the fridge and bake it in the morning. So this for me is a massive time saving, because I'm going to put the starter overnight. So there you go. So hope you enjoyed that. I mean, please subscribe to my channel. The more people that subscribe, the, you know, I can keep on doing these videos and kind of helping people to make better sourdough bread, and that's really what it's all about. I mean, I've been through the experiences the last 3-4 years of doing this, and there's lots to learn, lots of subtlety from what flours you buy, how you use them, processes you follow, being aware of the temperature in the room, the feel of the dough, the hydration, the baking conditions. To be an artisan or professional baker in sourdough, you really have to have quite a wide range of skills, or even a good home baker, you need to have quite a good range of skills and experience. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll do some more videos, and maybe I'll do some more starter videos. So I think people are always interested to know more about starters. It's the area you've really got to get right to make a good loaf of bread, and the more you do it, the more you learn, the better it gets. Thanks very much, and I'll catch you again. Please subscribe.